Welcome everyone to our Winning Never Grows Old Zoom in celebration of Senior Games Week. And I know that several of you, many of you, have participated in senior games and know what they are, but I'm just actually going to give a really short encapsulation. Senior games, I found out last year, began in the Los Angeles area, yay, California, and in the 1970s as a way for older adults to participate and stay active in sports. The first National Senior Games was held in 1987, excuse me, 1987 in St. Louis, and has been going strong ever since. And various games in California and around the country have been founded since then. I am the manager of the Pasadena Senior Games, which was founded in 1993. And we are embedded within the Pasadena Senior Center, which hosts our games annually. And as such, I am also a part, and Pasadena is with the California Senior Games Association, which is the state organization that oversees the various games in California. And then in turn, California Senior Games Association is a member of the National Senior Games Association, which puts down the rules for the senior games competitions. We are Olympic style athletic competitions, ages 50 and over. And I will say that as the events director for the Pasadena Senior Center, it's my pleasure to be the manager of the Pasadena Senior Games. And also, as I say, full disclosure, I do sit on the board of the California Senior Games Association, and I am the Pacific Region representative and board member for the National Senior Games. So it is unbelievably exciting for me to meet and know people all around the country who do senior games. Excited to do their first competition at age 50 and still competing. I think Mo's 103 this year. You just keep on going. So it's a real pleasure to be able to share this Zoom about the senior games and about the experience of continuing to compete after you are 50. And I won't say as you get older, because that's not what it's about. It's about just keeping going and all the positive things that come of that. So I am now going to introduce and hand it over to my good friend, Ann Warner-Cribbs. Ann is the president and CEO of the Bay Area Sports Organizing Committee. And she's also the board chair for the California Senior Games Association. She's also an Olympian, 1960 in swimming. So thank you, Ann, for putting together this fantastic panel that we have here today. And I'm going to now turn it over to you and let you introduce everybody else.
Well, thank you, Annie, and thanks for all that you do for us and for California. We really, really, really appreciate it. As Annie said, first of all, I'm an Olympian from 1960, and I have to tell you how much I absolutely loved representing my country at the age of 15 in Rome and walking in behind the flag in the opening ceremonies and meeting people from all over the world. And it has affected and directed many parts of my life all the way into the future is now. So today, I think that March is the International Month of the Women. I am so excited to have wonderful women on our panel, and I can't wait for you to hear their stories. But before that, just to finish up with the Senior Games in California, I am the chair. We have 6 regional games in California in excuse me, excuse me, in the Bay Area Senior Games, one in Visalia, one in Pasadena, one in San Diego, one in the Inland Empire, and then we come back to Northern California for the Encore Games at the end of the year. We have about 12,000 athletes in California who participate in some form of our senior games, and we're very proud this year. Our National Senior Games is in Des Moines, Iowa. This summer, we have qualified 1,600 California athletes to go to Des Moines to compete in a number of sports. So we're pretty excited about that. So, moving on to today's panel, gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce a longtime and very good friend of mine, Marilyn King. Marilyn is an inspiration, and I know you will find her to be that as well. She's a two-time Olympian pentathlete, which is a lot of sports, and she's going to tell us which disciplines of track and field those are, and there probably will be a test at the end of this. But more than that, Maryland has carried on the traditions of both competition and the real values of the Olympic Games, which are participation and sharing what we all share as humans globally and looking for peace in our world. And she's done it so well that I thought that she would absolutely be the perfect host of this particular panel. And I am going to step back and give this to Marilyn and say, hey, it's all yours. Thank you so very much for being here. And it is just, I'm looking so much forward to the next hour. Marilyn King.
Thank you, Anne. And are you going to be introducing the individual panelists?
I will, yes, indeed. But I want you to be, well, we could go to that right now. Let's do that and then come back to you. Good idea.
Yeah.
So the first individual panelist I will introduce is a good friend of mine, Monica Williams, who I've known for 40 years, and our kids were either in school together or we did some special event in Palo Alto together. We reunited ourselves about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when she came and tried to tell me about pickleball, this crazy sport. I said, we can't do pickleball in a senior games because it's a stupid name. Well, did I ever eat my hat? And pickleball is now one of the major sports in our senior games. But more important, Monica has been the leader of the pickleball band. She's the queen of pickleball in Northern California. If anybody wants to know how to do anything with pickleball or organize a club or put together something or do things for kids, Monica's the person to see. She is amazing, and I can't wait for you to hear from her. Next up is Elsbeth Padilla, who another track and field athlete, Marilyn, who when I see her at our track and field meet, I am inspired on a regular basis because as a swimmer, I am terrible at running and not very much better at throwing things or kicking things or jumping, but I was really good in the water. So anyhow, the things that Elsbeth does is just amazing to me. And besides that, she looks great when she does it, and she's a national record holder. Every time she's in a meet, I have to do the certification for her record. So, Elsbeth, welcome. And then finally, close to my heart is a master's swimmer, Daniela Barnea, who holds both world, right, and national records in swimming. I saw her swim for the first time when NBC was filming her and when we did the 2007 World Masters Championship at Stanford, which I was in charge at. And there was this person who got in the water, swam like a fish, absolutely beautiful to watch, clearly trains on just a daily basis. And again is so inspiring. So Daniela, thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it. So Marilyn, back to you.
Yeah, well, how fun this is going to be. And I'm just so delighted to be here with all of you. And thank you for inviting me to participate here. And I love the title, Winning Never Gets Old. But I wanted
to. It only gets better.
It only gets better.
Yes.
And you all would know, right? And I just wanted to say something about the notion of winning, because often people think, winning and losing, and unless you are first place, then you lost. But for me as a pentathlete, and by the way, the pentathlon is the 100-meter hurdles, shot put, high jump, long jump, and 800 meters. So I was never the best at any one of them. And there were two athletes here who were better pentathletes than I was. So you could say I was never a winner because I never took first place. But for me, it always had to do with pushing the upper limits of my ability and seeing how far, how fast, how high. So I just wanted to set the tone for us that winning never gets old. but winning is really self-defined. So with that, Anne asked me to share just a little bit about my history and some key things that I learned. And what I wanted to say is I was never a great athlete. I was about a B+ athlete, and we moved a lot, and I didn't do well socially, but I did sports after school every place we went. And then one day they invited someone I had beaten to go to the Olympic training camp. And sometimes you beat someone, who just had a bad day, but they're a great athlete. But this girl, I knew I was a better athlete than she was. And if the Olympic Committee thought she could go to the Olympics and I was a better athlete than she was, what do you think my next thought was?
I can go too.
If they think she can go and I'm better than she is, that means I could go to the Olympics. I was seized by the thought. I woke up every morning with this crazy idea, and I started to see the things that I needed to stop doing if I was going to be an Olympian, the things that were okay, and some new things I was going to have to do. So that notion of being seized by a thought and waking up with your highest aspiration really does guide your day to day and impacts your life. So I wanted to set that just down as a fundamental piece of what happens when you're seized by a thought when you're 16 years old. And it took me to my first Olympic team, in which I was also seized by a thought, because there I was, it was Munich, Germany, 1972. And I looked around and there were 7-foot-tall Japanese basketball players. I never knew they met 7-foot-tall Japanese people, and 72-pound gymnasts and athletes from countries that were at war with one another. And yet we lived in peace with each other on the bus, in the dining hall, on the playing field. The most fun was in the discotheque. But I thought, how could that be? And then I thought, well, everyone I see, I have respect for. And then I'm curious about what their story is. So I was seized by the thought that we could live in a global Olympic village if people just had respect and curiosity for everyone they see. So I kind of challenge people sometimes, no matter where you are in your day, whether it's in a very elite environment or looking at people who are struggling, if you have respect and curiosity, it really can help us to increase the peace. So I'm going to fast forward here. I went to Montreal in '76, but in training for my third and last Olympic team, when we boycotted 1980, I had set aside my entire coaching career at Berkeley with a year's leave of absence, so I could do nothing but train for the first time in my life. And the garbage truck that hit my car made it impossible for me to train. But because I thought it was only going to be for a couple of weeks and I would be okay, I kept waking up every morning and going, I'll be in the top 3 at the Olympic trials and I'm better. I'm getting better every day. And I would roll out of bed like a log and grab a hold of the dresser, but I couldn't even hop from foot to foot. I thought it would be for a few weeks. I'm going to fast forward. It was 7 months and I was unable to physically train. But I watched films of the world record holders in all 5 of my events, or I stood on the track for 3 or 4 hours a day, envisioning my training or competition. And we fast forward the 7 months right before the Olympic trials for 1980, which would have been my third team. I had them give me a facet block in my back, and I placed second at the Olympic trials for the 1980 Moscow Games without physical training for 7 months. So that was another life-altering situation. I quit my coaching position and spent 3 years exploring the field of exceptional human performance. So that's what I've been doing for 40 years, is sharing that in the areas of business, education, and most importantly, in the domain of peace. So I'm going to shift us now, because I want to be able to hear from each of you about what are the kinds of stories that have been meaningful to you. And so what we have decided to do is that we will go in the order of our elder first, and in terms of age. So we're going to begin with Monica. And so Monica, followed by Daniela and Elsabeth. The first question we'd like to entertain and hear from you is, Tell us about a key experience that is just something that is so memorable to you. And it may be, when you were the highest or the fastest or one, but it might not be. It might just be something from your athletic career that was very meaningful. So, Monica, would you lead us off, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, all of you. I'm honored and I'm humbled to be with such accomplished athletes and Olympians. My meager athletic accomplishment was in England 70 years ago. I will never forget it. When the priest took me out of my history class for high jump practice for the school sports, I was so proud. Now, 50 years later, I entered the Bay Area Senior Games pickleball tournament and won 5 gold, not gold medals, won 5 medals. So that was a terrific achievement. And I'm so proud. I'm even wearing my Bay Area Senior Games shirt. I hope you saw that.
I have it too.
Thank you.
So, Daniela.
Okay, well, I grew up in Israel, and Israel, water is a commodity. We don't have many, or didn't have at the time, many pools. The only pool that was available was the YMCA, which was an 8 by 20 meter pool. And our PE teacher said at the time, well, they're trying to make a swim team. If you like, I liked sport very much. And so I said, I'll go and check it out. And here there were a bunch of kids and a coach that today would not be considered as a real coach. It was a guy that liked swimming and knew a little bit about it. I knew about Bob Keeper at the time, the big American coaches. And we did train a little bit, a couple of times a week. And then he came up with an idea to go to swim meets. Nobody really wanted to go because they said, oh, I'm not good enough. And I said, well, if you don't try, you'll never make it. So we ended up going. I kind of liked the idea of traveling to different places, meeting people that were athletes. And some of them I'm still friends with. This is like 65 years ago. It's amazing. The camaraderie and the friendship that I made is just wonderful. And when I came to the United States, of course, I went to summer camps and swam and got some more instruction. And then I came to the States and I got married. My kids, I have 3 kids. They went to school they were in swim teams. And when they came home with some times, I said, wait a minute, I want to see if I can beat those times. And I joined the master's program at Stanford. I live in Palo Alto, and trained until one day I said, hey, I have a swim meet. And I must say it was not quite getting to the times of my kids, but it got better over time. And as the saying goes, that competition never gets older. For me, it just got better with age. When I got to turn 50, I had a friend that went to the senior games and said, wow, Daniela, you should come to the senior games. It's a wonderful meet, and they gave out real big medals. So I said, 50? I'm not a senior. I could not adjust to that title until I was 60. And at 60, I was the first time in a senior game meet, and I quite liked it. I saw those people my age, and it was a different experience. It was really wonderful. And over the time, I started to try different events, longer events. At age 60, I picked up butterfly. And at 65, I did my first national record in the 100 butterfly. Last summer, I turned 80 in April, and last summer I did some big events that are like the 400 IM, the 200 IM, the 200 butterfly, and the 100 butterfly, and I broke the world record for all those events,
Well,
which I
congratulations.
never could do as a child. I was never good enough. Now here I really train every day. I go to the gym 3-4 times a week. And of course you have to outlive your competition. You have to hang in there. I have other friends that swim, but they say, how do you do it? You're not, I mean, I cannot get, records or get better. I say, well, you swim twice a week. It's not going to happen. You really need to put in the time. I have great coaches, and really, I watch a lot of videos of the good swimmers. There's a lot of videos about how to improve the styles. And I find it's really helping me a lot. I swim at the National Senior Games in Utah, in St. George, Utah last year, and I was inducted to the Hall of Fame. At 80, I could never do this in a younger age. And, I meet people there that Charlotte, that unfortunately passed away last year, she was 101 and swim the year before. She swam at 200 and 800, at 1650. She did flip turns. I mean, it was amazing to watch her, and last year was Betty. She's 100 years old. She, it's so inspiring. Everybody stands around the pool and claps their hands when they make it. And it's such a uplifting feeling that, you can do it. And
Yes.
I think it keeps me healthy. I went through COVID without getting COVID. I keep myself active. I try to stay healthy, eat as good as I think. I like some sweets here and there, but trying to stay on top of things. So,
Well, thank you, Daniela. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for Elizabeth.
Sure.
Elizabeth,
So,
but
you join the team.
so
It's
many
really great. And
you
here
have
are just like a few of the hardware that we get every meet that we go. It's just wonderful. Anne is doing an amazing job, Anne and Helen, keeping the senior games in Palo Alto going. And come and join us. It's a wonderful event.
Well, I asked the question, something, a key event to be proud of. You clearly have so many things to be proud of. So thank you for sharing them with us.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, please share with us just something that just is very memorable for you and that you continue to be proud of to share with us.
Well, I have to say my whole career is very memorable. I was born in Switzerland, where we girls didn't even have PE in school.
Yes.
So I had no idea about all that stuff. I came to America. I started playing soccer at 45. I'm a late bloomer. And when I turned about 70, it just was a little bit too physical. And I was looking for another sport. But I was ready to do a sport just by myself, not a team sport. And one of my soccer team member challenged me to run. She said, I'll run faster than you do. I said, oh, okay, let's go. And she said, there's a qualification game here for the seniors. Let's go together. She still is, about 10 years younger than me. And she didn't qualify, but I did. And so that's how I started. And I did run first 100 and 200 meter, but then had both knees replaced, which is fantastic. They're perfect. But then I started to look into the throws. And I started all that about 70 years old. I had no idea of any of the sports. So what I did, I looked on videos. I went to the neighborhood park and I brought some chalk. And I got a discus, that was my first one. And I drew a circle and I drew in the grass. I know, terrible, but I enjoyed it. And I got a little bit more into it. And then I attended my first senior game, and that was in Virginia, and uh, and I and some friends there who I made friends said, "Why do you only go for one event? You need to do some more, show something else." So I looked into it. I started to add the javelin, and then I started to add the shot put, and then the last one was the hammer. The hammer is just silly. I just think it's funny. I don't practice that hard, uh, but I had some fantastic experiences. I love to travel. Wherever we go, yeah, sign me up. I'll be there. And thanks, Anne. You have done a great job here in California. We really enjoy it, and I want to do it for many more years. I'm almost 87, but I'm still hanging in there. And what I really like is I'm coaching Palo Alto High School, boys and girls in discus and shot put, and the satisfaction and I get out of that. One of my girls got a sports scholarship, and to me, I'm so privileged to be able to do that. And I also I'm a certified official. I love to do that. I just like to be around these people that just a little bit different. They enjoy life, and I hope I can do it for many, many. Remember Hurricane at 108?
Yes.
She ran the 100 meter. I want to wish her beautiful flower in her hair every time she ran,
Yes.
and she did run. She didn't walk. I saw her in Albuquerque, and I want to be like her. And one of the other things I really is memorable to me when Albuquerque came around, my grandson, who was 16 at that time, asked me, "Can I come with you?" I said, "Absolutely, but can we drive?" Okay, he wanted to drive. I said, "Okay, I have time. My husband passed away. I don't have to be home anymore at certain times, don't have to cook." And so he came with me, and I broke the shot put record 3 times in a row. And
Wow.
we had 18 ladies in the shot put, and they all had to wait. Every time they had to go measure and wait. And my grandson was there, and he saw it, and it's just makes me happy. And I walk every day 4 miles. I just try to keep in shape. I
Wow.
don't eat good. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible eater, and I don't drink any water. So, and I'm still here. I don't know why, but I
What
have
do you
a lot
drink?
more intention to get a few more. I don't know if it's records. If I win, I'm happy. If I'm not happy, if I don't win, I like to participate.
Yes.
It's to
Yeah.
me, it's like a school reunion. When you go back to another event, "Oh, is she still home? Mary, hi, how are you doing?" And I also do masters, and I have one lady, I know I shouldn't talk about masters, but she is from Mongolia. She doesn't speak a word of English. She always brings me a gift every time we compete together. Those are memories. You can buy those. I don't care about some new shoes. I want to be with these wonderful people and enjoy it and be healthy and do it again for a lot, many, many more years.
Yes.
Well, Elsbeth, it
But
is a wonderful long journey from a little girl who couldn't take PE to a coach who is providing excellence and expertise to young women now in high school who can do stuff. So thank you.
yes,
That is
yes.
absolutely wonderful. Wonderful.
But it's a privilege that they let me give the knowledge I have. And I'm not just trying to coach them how far to throw or how to turn or whatever. I want to make good people out of them.
Yes.
And it's like it's an extended family to me. And I have had such little success stories with some of the kids, which I will treasure for the rest of my life.
Yes.
I will never forget them. And I hope these kids will never forget the memories we have together.
I'm
So,
sure
yeah.
that they won't. I think all of us who have participated in athletics have had, for the most part, fond memories of coaches that have given of themselves to
Mhm.
help us be better. And I think all of us also have the feeling of obligation that it's important to pass that on somehow. So Marilyn?
Yeah, and I just want to underscore in terms of what everyone has shared. I asked the question, something that you're proud of. Just the energy that each of you has, right? And here we all are over 70, right? And there
Over
are
80. Yeah.
yes, that's over 70.
Yes.
Here is that there are people who are in 70s, and often people think about people who are seniors, right? Or
Right.
masters, and they're just kind of making it through the day. The energy that is here among our panelists and among our colleagues who are continuing to be active, that sense of pride and energy and being excited when you get up that day,
Right.
what a gift to be involved with the Senior Games. So thank you, all of you, for both your participation and the ways that you support these opportunities. So the next question I'd like to ask is, there has been so much research over the years, and part of it really supported how important it has been to allow girls in particular and women to have equal opportunities in sports, because it became very clear that the kinds of things that we learn through athletic competition, whether it's individual or team, really serve us in our lives outside of sport. So my second question to each of you is, if you were to think about what was the greatest value that you got, or some lesson that you have learned through your sports participation, and do you see how that may or may have carried over into your life outside of sport, or like Elizabeth, because of your coaching, that there are things that you have learned that you continue to pass on? So I'd like to circle back to Monica in terms of, some key lesson that has come as a result of your athletic participation and how that may have extended beyond sports.
Well, thank you. It's so inspiring to hear you ladies. It's unbelievable. And I'm so proud to be a part of this group. When I started pickleball, just teaching pickleball I started at the senior center teaching seniors. And it was amazing how these seniors, some of them had never played a sport before. So it was a new life for them. Yeah. And pickleball has become an incredible community of wonderful friends. People make friends. People may have had terrible experiences. They may have lost spouses. And if they come to the pickleball courts, they find a new life. They find a reason for being together. And I have been teaching a lot. And
where do you teach?
At Palo Alto, at Mitchell Park.
I would like to join you.
You will be, I will teach you.
Oh, great. Yay.
And definitely, please. The last person I was teaching, well, not the last person, but a year ago, I was teaching a 93-year-old
wow
gentleman who played tennis all his life, but he just could not move so much on the court, but he came and wanted lessons. And oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. It's wonderful to teach, to take somebody who's never played a sport before as well, and teach them, and they it just changes their life. Pickleball is a real addiction, a very good addiction. And there's 43 million now playing it in the United States, as opposed to about 24 million tennis players. So it's really exploding. And the wonderful thing about it is now youth are becoming very interested in it. Lots of tournaments. And so it's getting the youth away from the electronics, because they're so, they become addicted to pickleball, which is a great sport. It's just a lot easier to play than tennis. So after 10 minutes, you can play a game. So that's why it's so good for everybody. I play with my grandchildren and my daughters and everybody in the family. We have an extended family of 13 grandchildren. Everybody plays pickleball. Wow. So it brings everybody together. But
that's wonderful.
Regarding what to a lesson to share, I think is similar to what Marilyn said about winning. You don't have to win a gold. I mean, just participating. To me,
Right.
participation is actually winning. And when you do participate, pickleball is normally played by doubles teams, right? And so when we play, I always say to my partner, you know, if we lose, if we win, we're happy. But if we lose, don't worry. We've made two people really happy.
That's right.
And they like that. You know,
A win-win situation.
Yes, win-win, yes.
So,
So-
Monica, I would say something about your club because it is very much what Marilyn and I found in our respective Olympic villages. All the languages, all the differences, all of the countries, all united in the pursuit, in our case, of various kinds of sport. And in your case, your club has so many people from so many countries who have come to this country for a better opportunity, and they're playing pickleball. The languages are all different. They're so passionate about pickleball. And your slogan is what?
The slogan is, I'm so excited about this. Arrive as a stranger and leave as a friend.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And we have at least 22 languages
Wow.
over the courts. 10 years ago, we had about 35 players, 35 pickleball players. And the courts could no longer accommodate us. So we went over to 3 unused tennis courts and started putting tape on lines. And every day people would come and they'd ask what's going on. There were only 35 of us. And we said, well, here's a paddle, you know, we give them a paddle and they could play, hit a ball over the net. That's all we needed. Anyway, long story short, now after 10 years, we have a club with 1,500 members.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
it's very exciting. And thank you to Anne. We couldn't have done it without Anne, actually, because she saw the health and wellness value in the sport of pickleball and invited our club to host the Bay Area Senior Games. That was, I think, about 10 years ago, Anne.
Yes, it's
And
10 years.
and
Yeah.
everybody's is just so excited about it because of the community, because
Yes.
we do meet people from all over the world and they all come. If they have a paddle, we teach
And
them. We teach them
The
for
thing
free.
about them is, Monica, is that they all get along. They might squabble over the game or about the line or something, but all get along, united in pickleball. And there is a lesson there for our
Yes,
world right
exactly.
now that I wish we could impart to everybody. So thank you for all that you do.
It is. Thank you, everybody.
Well,
Please forward your information. I really want to join.
Oh, thank you, Daniela. I will.
well, thank you, Monica. And one of the things that is just so clear that I hear from my pickleball friends is the sense of community.
Mhm.
And it really, you know, the winning, the maybe not, you know, beating the other side, but the level of community, particularly as you're even waiting to get on the court,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, and to start something new at that age is also something that is, you know, it's wonderful that, you know, I know my parents, they were very sporty as youngsters. My father went to medical school, but was teaching tennis at the time because he was athletic. And my mother, you know, she was horseback riding. She was both from Germany when they grew up. And, but as adults, they never did sport. They never did sports. And I find it, how is this possible not to do it? I'm competing now against my grandson in swimming, you know.
So Daniela, would you share with us, you know, a lesson that has come, because your experience is so long and so deep and so high, but is there a lesson that you would share that came from sport and that might also transcend sport?
Yes, I think, you know, you cannot say I can't do it. You need to try. I'm teaching swimming young kids. I've taught adults too. And Oh no, no, they're afraid to put their face in the water. Yeah, it's hard, but you start slowly to make bubbles, to blow, and all of a sudden, I have a 2.5-year-old. She swims across a small pool, but wow, she was afraid to put her face in, and now she swims across the pool. And some it goes faster, some it takes a longer time, but the fact that they wouldn't put their toes in and now they are immersing themselves in the water. And I think it takes also to life. You try to do things that you couldn't do before, and you can see if you try, if you give it a little chance, that you can do things that you never thought you can do. And I think it goes for other things too. So
Yeah, Daniela, that is just, such a great example of something that we can see so clearly through your story, and it absolutely transcends. And so, Elizabeth, something from your career in sport that is a lesson that also carries over?
Well, of course, we have a lot of competitions when I go with Palo Alto High School, we compete against other high schools. And usually I get sucked in to officiate, but I see these kids who I know, they probably have a parent as a coach, or they don't have a coach, and I can see that some real bad habits. And I have one especially, I took him to the side afterwards, after it was finished, and I asked him if he was willing to listen to me for a minute, and I gave him some advice, and he came back the season after, and he said, I have so much improved. It's because of you. And he was so happy, and giving that happiness, just because you know a little bit more than the kid knows, if you can share that, it's fantastic. And I also of course, I played soccer, and I loved soccer. And I have still a lot of soccer friends, and we have coffee once a month with them. And I have 4 of them. I train 3 times a week at Stanford, and they are there now too. And they're running. It's just a group of people. It's not a club. I'm the only one who throws, and they are out there too. And I improve their lives too, because they're more healthy. They found a new group to socialize. Of course, we have to go to pizza afterwards, right? Right, and we see you sometimes
Yes.
there. Yes. And to me, that's satisfaction. I know I have drawers full of medals, but that doesn't mean as much to me than making somebody else happy or improving their life, and also health-wise.
yeah.
Yes, I have one who is coming out now for about a month, and she just walks. She has a real dramatic home life, but at least she can get out an hour and walk, and then, or maybe 2, and have coffee with us, and recharges her battery, and then can go home strong again, and take on all the problems she has. And to me that's so satisfying. It
Yeah.
makes me happy, and I'm just lucky. Every morning I wake up, I say, gosh, thank you, another day. I can do it another day.
I know. It's sometimes hard to get up in early mornings at 6 to go in a pool when the weather is
Oh, yeah.
terrible. But the feeling that you have after the workout
Oh,
is
yeah.
so wonderful that you forget that pain that you had to get up at
Right.
45.
I agree.
Well,
Totally.
Elizabeth, one of the things that I felt through all of what you were saying is a lot of what's in the research now, when they talk about sports and team participation, is what happens because of the interactions.
Right.
Whether you are supporting someone who you know a little bit more of, or someone
Right.
shows up that day that's not feeling quite so well,
Yeah.
but in terms of the experience that they have, and then just that notion of being part of a team and how you have to cooperate. You have to know when to step forward and when to step back and allow someone else.
Right.
So there's so many lessons to be taken from sport, and I think that your stories and the things that you highlighted were really, really illustrative of what the research says. So we have one more question, and I'm hoping that we'll have a little opportunity at the end for any kind of questions that some of the other people here with us may want. But my third question really is, I'm a very pragmatic person, and when you do the pentathlon and you train 6 to 8 hours a day, you're always looking for efficiency because there's not enough time in the day to train and go to school and have a job and do your own laundry. So efficiency. So I'm always interested in like high level daily practice. So we know that in terms of sport and athletics that, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So it's about high level daily practice. And for me, the one that I like to share in terms of carryover is I tell people about, just do what Olympians do. And for me, that's about begin your day the Olympian way. You wake up in the morning and you remember your highest aspiration. And then you look to see how your day is going to align with that. So begin your day the Olympian way is one of the things that I encourage people to just be really clear about what your highest aspiration is and how your day will align with that. So I'd like to go back around the circle again, Monica, to begin with you. Is there daily practice either that you would recommend for people in sport or that you see as a carryover into life?
Well, my daily aspiration has been, years ago, it was tennis. I would get up in the morning, can't wait to play tennis. I was addicted to tennis. For years and years, for 60 years, I played tennis. I became addicted to bridge 20 years ago. I get up in the morning, all I wanted to do was learn some more bridge or go to a tournament down in Monterey or somewhere. And then after 10 years of bridge, that's when I discovered pickleball. And now, honestly, I awaken about 4:30, think in bed about what I'm going to do after celebrating, because every day is a birthday. Now I'm almost 83, so every day is a birthday to me. And I'm grateful for every minute. And so I just think of, well, who can I teach today? Because, I'm addicted. And it's just like a religion with me. I just want to see who I'm going to give a lesson to today and just make them happy. And that's what I do.
Well, I want to underscore that what you said in terms of practice is that you begin each day with gratitude, feeling grateful for the day. Mm-hmm. So that's one that I think we can all carry forward. Mm-hmm. So Daniela, please.
I feel like, I get up in the morning, I go on the carpet and do 5 to 10 minutes stretches just to get my body going and then go about my day. So some days I have early morning practice and sometimes I like the noon practice better because the sun is out and keeps the water a little warmer too. And I feel like that, when I don't swim, like right now I have a little cold, and I force myself not to go to practice to get better, but it's almost like I can't go a day without doing something. It doesn't feel right for me. So if I can swim, then I do walk or I do go another extra half hour to the gym. But I feel like that if it's almost like also when I don't practice daily, I feel like, oh, here comes the meet. Would I be able to do the 100 or the 200 butterfly? It's almost this fear of not being able to do my best if I don't have my daily routine of practice, whether it's a walk or a swim workout. I still take clinics because there's always something one can improve. Like I say, I watch a lot of reels. There's a lot of good coaches that are on, that give you wonderful tips. I watch Olympian swim. I learn a lot by watching, by seeing. And so it makes me better. And then it makes me better also as a teacher, as how to improve somebody else's. And sometimes I when I go to the pool, I see some people that, oh, I wish I could tell them how to stretch, how to improve their stroke so they get better. But some people don't like those comments, or it's none of my business to do it. But I have this feeling that I want to improve somebody else's stroke so that they don't get as tired as that it would be easier for them to swim. So,
but what I heard you say in all of that is that doing something every day. You have a cold, so you're not going to swim, so you'll do something else. So as a daily practice, just making sure that you do something.
Exactly. And I don't understand my
You
friends.
can be watching a reel and watching someone else do it. So thank you. Thank you.
And unfortunately, I have to
I'd
leave.
like to see if Elizabeth, do you have a daily practice or something?
Let me just say goodbye, because I have a doctor's appointment. I have to leave.
Daniela, thank you very much.
Thank you too for having me. It's a pleasure to be amongst you. You are wonderful, and keep up what you're doing.
Nice
and
meeting you.
To be 100 and do as well.
Yes,
Hope
we will be there.
Daniela, Anne will give you my contact number.
I will.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be there.
All right, Elizabeth.
Thank you, ladies. It was wonderful to be
like we said, every morning it's not easy to get up at 6 or something, and especially if the weather isn't that great, and I have to fight the 101 South to get down to Stanford because I live in Belmont. Sometimes it takes a long time, but it's such a satisfaction afterwards, after you finish. And what I really like is my daily walks, because that's when I concentrate and think about my kids. And I think, oh, so-and-so, I got to show him or her, I think he could do a little bit better, or she could do, if she does this and that. And then I may take her first at practice and, give her my advice and hope she improves. And these kids are it's just a blessing to have them. I just love them. And I do something every day. No, I'm lying. Once in a while, I take a day off and just eat cookies. I like cookies.
Well, I want to thank everyone. Anne, I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for closing comments from Anne, but as someone who ran relays, I feel like at the age most of us are, we have something of value. So the relay baton was the thing that was of value that went around. And to make sure that we are passing the baton on, not all young people are interested in listening, but some of them are interested in the value that we bring. So Anne, I want to thank you for inviting me and allow for any closing comments or questions.
Are you Anne or Annie? All right, I will just make a couple of comments. And first of all, thank you to the audience for being present with us. Thank you to my good friends. And it's so much fun for me to sit here and listen to all of you. I've learned a lot, and you are all incredibly inspirational. It's just amazing. One of the things that I figured that I learned as an Olympian was the value of setting a goal. First of all, having a dream, setting a goal, and then figuring out how to get to that goal, which meant very often being determined, showing up, being at practice, listening to my coach, doing stuff that maybe I didn't really want to do, and just being present and being persistent and knowing that if you can be those things, you will get to where you want to be. So aside from that personal goal in terms of being an Olympian, the other thing that I think about often when I watch the Olympic Games now on television and see all of the athletes marching in behind their flag, by country, and then see the athletes at the close of the Olympic Games marching out, all united, no flags, but just together as one global world of humanity. People who care about themselves and care about their sport and just want to do better. And I step back and think, you know what? It's so simple. That's really, really what we would like the world to be, which I think is the attraction of the Olympic Games for people, because everybody just wants to see their families, their kids have the ability and the opportunity to be what they want to be and do that living in peace. So we certainly have some work to do, but the people on this call have made a great difference. And the message that you all shared will go out to a number of other people. So thank you so very much for being here, Marilyn, and thank you very much. So back
Yep.
to you.
Actually,
Yep. I would
I'm gonna jump in here with just a couple of quick thoughts, and then we do have a few moments in case any of our few people here have some questions. I just want to reiterate the power of community, and I am not an athlete. I am not a sports person. I was never the person out there. I'm not likely to be the one, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the pool. When I got this job at the Pasadena Senior Center and found myself in charge of a 20-sport Olympic style competition, where we set world records, I had a really big learning curve. And part of that was how everybody helps each other. And something that Anne had briefly, I think, mentioned is that everyone around me, from the games, from the California folks, and then the National Senior Games people I interacted with, they said, you have to do a sport. Doesn't matter what you do. You have to get the athlete experience. You have to understand what that is. So I picked power walking. It's not race walking. There's no kind of special thing you have to do. And power walking 1,500 meters on the track is 3 3/4 the way around the track. And I'm like, okay, if I can't make it 4 times around, I'm not that far from where I started. It's okay. This is okay. And I walk a lot. I'm pretty fit. And what I found doing that 1,500-meter walk is that everybody I knew at the track and field meet were cheering me on. They were walking next to me and giving me tips. Our meet director, Jim Hanley, who knows everybody and everything and has worked Olympics, is helping give me tips of how I can get those few extra seconds. And I finished, and I did not finish dead last. And it was such a great experience, and the friendship and the people around me, that I then went to the San Diego Senior Games, because here's how I know it's addicting. I had to better my time. I knew what my time was, and I had to improve it. And unfortunately, then I had a groin problem and couldn't continue. But this year I'll be back at it. But it was that, we talk about intrinsic motivation, the motivation you have inside yourself, and then the extrinsic motivation, the people out there that motivate you. And for those of us that aren't born with that inside, I'm going to achieve, it's the people who cheer us on. And I want to go to the games because I'm going to see Linda and Peter and all of my friends. So that gets me continuing to be active, continuing to train, because I want to be better next year, and I don't want to let my friends down. So that whole community is such an important thing. And I think that's one thing that competitions and senior games competitions all bring together. So you can be the best elite athlete. I mean, we had a 51-year-old make an American record in the 400, 57 seconds around the track. And then we have duffers like me that are just, doing our power walk. But there's a place for everybody. And that camaraderie and that community keeps us all positive and moving forward, which is, I think, just a really positive thing that we do. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Carolyn Zorn, who just joined us, who has been with the Pasadena Senior Games for 25 years at least. not typically competing, but helping in all of the competitions. So thanks for thanks for making it in, Carolyn.
So I want to thank you all, because it doesn't matter if you're 8 years old or 80 years old, if you're an Olympian or where you are, the what we've heard today, the community, the camaraderie, what you receive and what you give. So for those of you who participate, for those of you who make it possible for the senior games to continue to grow and serve, I thank you all.
All right. And I did make it so that you can unmute yourself if any of the couple of people that we have on this, I know it was a difficult time. If anybody wants to unmute to just say anything or just to thank our wonderful presenters, now is the time to do so. As we, so Ruth Ann is applauding.
Yes, I see that.
So yeah, thank you to all of you who came. And then as the person who opened this up, and now I'll wrap this up, it has been such a privilege for me to be able to hear you guys all talk about your experiences. And I think it was pretty random, but I love the globalness also of this presentation.
Yeah.
So England, Switzerland, Israel, the United States. I mean, just
Germany.
and our experiences transcend any kind of geographical borders, and I think that's super important too.
Annie, that's one question from Ruth Ann.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Oh.
share. Thank you so much. It's so great to hear the wonderful stories. And Annie and I will have to talk about power walking. I have done 6 marathons, but I walked them. I don't believe in running them. So I walked, and my best one was in Athens, Greece. I told my dad I was going to go to Athens, Greece and do a marathon with my brother. And 2 things would be different: that I would finish and not die, and that I would do it clothed, because the fellow who did it the first time was naked. So anyway, we finished in 6:38:14, and I had a goal of 6:30. But and my brother, who had never, and I trained a year for that, my brother had never trained for a marathon and ran it at 5:23. So it was just and the global experience was just incredible. So, and I did that in 2007, and I was born in 1949. So whatever that math is a 4-letter word for me. But anyhow, it's just, 75 has been a challenge for me this year physically, but I want to get back into walking. And so Annie and I will have to talk.
Thank you. And can
It's
I
amazing
just
how sports can just give so much to everybody's life.
Yes.
It's a privilege that we can do it.
Yes.
Well, I think that's a great way to close. Elspeth, thank you very much for being here. Monica, thank you for being here. Annie, thank you for your technology expertise, and to all of the people on the in the audience. And Marilyn, many, many thanks to you for bringing us all together, for creating the context, and for your observations. You were terrific.
Thank
You
you.
were.
Yes.
Thank
And thank you, Anne. So thank you,
Yes.
everybody. Yeah, right. Live long and
Bye-bye.
prosper.
Be well. See you at the track or the pool or the court or the
Or a
whatever.
beach.
Exactly. All right. Cheers, everybody. Thanks so much.